Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Southern Sweden Design Day studio. On our next point of program, we have a topic that's called Being a Friendly Rebel, the past, the present, and the future. And here to talk about that is IKEA of Sweden. So for 80 years, IKEA has been the happy rebel furnishing homes all over the world. In this talk, they will be discussing where the dissonance has been an important component to create great design and what could be some of the dissonances of today. Sharing some thoughts, connecting to the past, the present and the future through one of their upcoming collections called Nytillverkad. We have Thea Mix Davidsson, Karin Gustafsson, Johan Eidemo, and moderating Magnus Nord. So take it away, Magnus.
Thank you. So
welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, we are IKEA. We started by rearranging the furniture. That's just us. It's also great to be here. I think we're going to start with some mistakes we made, actually.
Okay.
So if you have a mic, we start with a guest here. Johan, can you introduce yourself and what you do and maybe a mistake you made?
Yeah, my name is Johan Eidemo, and I'm one of two design managers for IKEA. Me, myself, together with Eva Lilja Löwenhjelm, leads the design team in-house IKEA and the freelance team. So mistakes you have done?
Yeah.
Well, I think if you work at IKEA, you will do mistakes, or if we call them mistakes, I don't know, learnings maybe. But if you want to stay ahead and be in the front, you will by definition also fail sometimes.
Have you got a letter from Ingvar?
Yes, yeah, I have that. We are many back in the days doing product development as I did. Then you could get this nice little letter from Ingvar, never really in any mean way, but making a point of maybe shouldn't do exactly that again. So mine was a little bit boring. It had a tendency to be a little bit too expensive, the products that we were doing at the time, but enough to get the letter from the owner.
Thanks for sharing. So who are you?
So my name is Karin. I'm Karin Gustafsson, and I work with product development. I work with different projects, and it could be collections or material development or specific different tasks. And I'm here today because I've been working on a collection called Nytillverkad, where we had opened our treasure box, and Magnus will take us there later.
Yeah, and there's no mistakes in your treasure box you want to share?
Plenty.
You have something? Yeah? Something you want to share?
For the first, I'm very messy, so I work around a lot, missing flights and so on, and making mistakes, lose my computer in Istanbul, and it happens all the time. But then I also I have learned that it's so important to anchor your project with business and supply, and with material development, and also I know we were talking sustainability here before, how to develop the more material. So I'm more and more digging into how we do products. And that is the importance. I presented a collection twice with not having secured the supply once, and there was no collection.
Customers around.
No. So you learn by the mistakes.
Thank you. Thea?
Yes,
what about you?
I'm Thea. I work at IKEA Museum as a collection curator. So I collect others' mistakes mostly. But I really blame myself for losing a very important auction a few weeks ago because we are collecting to this archiving collection that we have at
how far
we don't have everything.
How far are you willing to go?
Yeah, I just completely lost it. I thought I placed a bid, but I apparently didn't. So
now it's in someone's home.
Hope it comes up again.
Okay, thanks so much. Yeah, so actually, if there's anyone wanting to share, to have a little bit more interaction in this session, any mistakes that you made that you're proud of or not proud of that you want to share with the audience, just to get the talk going. Anyone? We have a mic ready. There's some IKEA people here, then maybe I'll ask them.
Just
Any
pinpoint.
students? You're young and your future is open. No? Anyone? Okay. We'll save it for after. Maybe keep the thoughts.
Yes.
Thank you for the welcome. This was a perfect segue, I think, into the mistakes section. And we think it's great to have this SKAV, as you say in Swedish, the dissonance. And it's our concept is that as well, democratic design. So super exciting. I want to ask you, Johan. They say you live in Lund. You're not from Lund, you live in Lund. They say the distance between Malmö and Lund is from Malmö all the way around the world to Lund. How big is the difference between Malmö and Älmhult?
Yeah, it seems like it's very long. For me, it's very short, since it's majority of my life I've been traveling that distance. But I also think Älmhult is very present in Malmö. I think I read an article a few years ago that explained that we are actually the third biggest employer in Malmö for people living in Malmö. So apparently not so big distance, but it can feel quite long sometimes.
Yeah, on a commute. Yeah. Right. I think we're going over a little bit to the past of IKEA, and of course I'm looking at you, Thea, for taking us through some of the mistakes we've been doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
as I mentioned, I really like mistakes, and I think that's part of our culture at IKEA, that we dare to try new things, new functions, materials, and we sometimes fail, but we usually learn something, and in the end we can all probably laugh about it even. Right. So we share some of these stories at IKEAmuseum.com.
Right.
And I don't know what mistake we will start with, but
we'll have the foam thing.
The film thing.
foam. The foam film.
Yeah, here you will see our founder, Ingvar Kamprad, and his partner in crime, Gillis Lundgren, who is a designer, and he has made a lot of products from IKEA.
Could you say something? Was it different back then to develop products?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I think IKEA and the society has changed, of course, but one thing that we still do is, being on the factory floor and working very close to the suppliers and finding these new smart ways to make the products as low price as possible, but not lose the quality.
Right.
But for this example, I think we pushed it too hard. And,
Let's see, two guys on the factory floor, hacking away. It works. Okay, one more.
Ett exempel på där vi försöker att finna nya innovationer, nya material ifrån andra branscher. Och det här isoleringsmaterial, det borde ju inte vara så förfärligt dyrt, tycker man. Utgångspunkten skulle vara ett sånt här fyllnadsmaterial som de använder. Och jag har fått ihop en liten sats här utav det materialet som nu används till isolering. Och jag tänkte vi skulle kunna göra ett prov om någon vågar hålla i den här och öppna den.
Ja, det vågar jag.
Det vågar du. Men vi måste nämligen gå ut och göra det.
Jaha. Men varför det?
Det går kanske att göra här inne.
Ja, det går att göra här inne. Det går att göra här inne.
Detta är då IKEA experiment nummer 04. Det har nog funnits fler experiment och många misslyckanden också. Men vi kan ju prova detta. Det farligaste att hålla i kudden.
Det farligaste att ha.
Detta materialet här, det expanderar 35 gånger sin egen volym.
Ja.
70 liter borde räcka till en fåtölj exempelvis.
Inte mer nu. Så. Oj.
Lite längre bort så det inte andas in för mycket av det här.
Är det inte nyttigt?
Det är inte helt nyttigt, men det är inte farligare än det säljs i kemikalieaffärer i Sverige idag. Det blir kanske ingen kudde utav detta. I alla fall så blir den inte mjuk.
Den blir
inte mjuk, men det är alltså en ändring utav den kemiska sammansättningen man kan göra för att få den mjuk. Hade det nu varit lite större hål så hade det naturligtvis gått fortare. Där var den på väg att explodera. Men det är extra fart ibland på det. Ja, vi får ingen kudde av det här.
Egentligen så är det ju här ett jävla snusk. Du förstör ju det här kuddfodralet. Så ska du få rent det sedan.
Men vi kan visa här hur det fungerar det här.
Vi kan visa hur det inte fungerar det här, menar du? Nej, du har för lång sladd naturligtvis, förstår du inte det? Mm. Ja, det här blir ett helvete att få in den här kudden.
Det blir besvärligt. Du får köpa en ny kudde sen.
Mm. Ja. Ja, tanken är ju fascinerande och intressant. Man tänker ju hela tiden på morgnarna när man rakar sig hur skummet växer på kinden.
Ett annat exempel är ju helt enkelt när hon bakar bröd hemma med jäst och vetemjöl. Och de läser ju som regel upp.
Mm. Men lika förbaskat så måste det vara en prisrimlig metod så att inte projektet faller på det.
Ja, det måste det vara.
Den här sak lyckas eller någon annan så är det tiotals miljoner i besparingar vi talar om. Vi måste ju hela tiden se till att vara steget före. Vi kan räkna med att våra kollegor konkurrerar.
If my mic is on, yeah, I think we get the full story of these two geniuses. Thanks for sharing, Thea. What else do we have?
We have this example. I don't know if you recognize this. I think it came in the early 2000s. It's called IKEA Air. The idea, again, really good idea. To have like a really flat package. You just 99% of this sofa is air. But in reality it didn't work so well, unfortunately. It was supposed to be very low price, very easy to assemble, and very good for the environment, not at least. But however, the technique was not, it was very complicated, it turned out. And our customers, they didn't really read the instructions, so they blew in warm air instead of cold air. So that meant that like a few hours later, when you sit on it, it's like sad balloon. So yeah.
Sad balloon furniture.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. There's more. I think it's another film. I think you brought with you. Let's see this one.
This is one of my personal favorites.
You wanna intro it maybe?
I don't know. I think it speaks for itself. But we launched this composed sofa in the 90s. Which I talked to a colleague the other day who worked as an interior designer in the stores.
Yeah.
They had no idea how to showcase this, with the maskar.
Yeah,
worms and stuff. So they made this video to show together with the product.
Let's see.
Nu går du där.
Ser du männen?
Åh, det luktar kompost. Åh. I detta.
Wow, this reminds me of my childhood. I don't know. We didn't have this, but maybe something to you to, try to develop the compost sofa 2.0 or the air sofa 2.0.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks for sharing. I haven't seen it before.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, so I think that was a little bit about our past. Then we'll move on to kind of current days with you, Johan. Can you tell us a little bit about what we see here, what's happening here?
Yeah, on democratic design, I can connect the past to the present, and maybe it will take us into the future as well. So we can laugh at these films, but in some way they're also showing a lot of the culture that we have in IKEA when it comes to being in the forefront of material development. It can look silly sometimes, but there's some kind of ingenious idea lying behind it. And when I see the compose sofa, it comes very natural that we're doing that, because waste is really something that we don't like to produce. And obviously, this was really early on. Now everyone talks about sustainability, we're very aware, and we try to do our best, all of us as individuals. But then we did this attempt, and maybe it wasn't too successful, and the whole home was filled with flies and a little bit of not so nice smell. But on the topic of dissonance, then, when we work with democratic design in IKEA, we talk about 5 dimensions that goes into every product, and it's kind of our language when we talk to each other as a team. But when we launched it back in 1995, then we more launched it as a public, or for like also external IKEA, talking about democratic design. Then it was 3 dimensions: it's the form, function, and low price. And this picture is from Milan, and I think that says a lot. It was a little bit of dissonance going on at the time, because we don't put the premium on design or use design as for the sake of itself. It's a mean to achieve what we want to do and reach many people. And at the time, the conversation in the design world was more about the form or function, which one comes first. Kind of landed in that form as well as function, but our message was really, for us, it's really the low price that comes first, because it is also about accessibility and being able to provide well-designed designs, products to as many as possible. And then maybe pitch over to Karin, then not putting a premium on. Then we're launching a new collection right now that will continuously launch over some time. When it comes to our vintage products and our treasure chest that we have done a lot of products over the years, and they also have a tendency to pop up on the marketplace and being fairly expensive today. So obviously we think it's nice that they are recognized, but we also don't really kind of agree with that they should cost a lot. So you bring us into Nytillverkad, Karin.
Yeah, I think we have a launch film, right, first to show a little bit what we're talking about. So this is current. It's in the stores July 1st. This is a sneak peek film.
Our past has always been defined by the possibilities of the future. And 80 years of future has created a collection of products that defies time. With Nytillverkad, we are returning to the future again.
Wonderful, wonderful. So tell us, Karin, what is Nytillverkad?
I think all of us have so many memories with old IKEA furniture. And I think for me, who grew up with the IKEA for many years, being from Småland as well, I have had so many of IKEA old classics. And when we decided to revisit our past and our heritage, it was quite difficult, actually, because the heritage is so big. Ingvar started from doing traditional furniture. We did for a while very non-IKEA design, but we decided to go for the very specific IKEA, what we believe, like in Sweden, is truly IKEA. And how brave Ingvar was by the time in launching all the bright colors, and the designers got totally freedom, like Sven Fristedt with the textiles we will see in the collection.
And there's an exhibition of him in Lund, right, at the moment?
Yes, with Sven Fristedt, there's a big textile exhibition in Lund, fantastic one. And in this Nytillverkad collection, for example, here you can see a stool from a female designer called Karin Mobring. It's from 1977. So this is like an icon piece of the collections where we choose to do very simple products. But they're like 50 years old and they had a price reward. We revisit them with some new colors, some new constructions, looking into material choices. As Johan mentioned here, that it's both form and function. Some pieces from the past we cannot do today.
What kind of materials are we talking about? Is it?
For example, we are doing a chair. It's called Gogo. It was called Gogo. We have to replace them with new names. That's a long story, but it was from Charlotte and Hjördis, two young female designers by the time. And that chair, for example, I think we minimized the metal use with...
The carbon footprint is cut in half using high-strength steel today, so there's all of that. It's not just repeating the products we've done in the past, and it's also reinventing them for the future.
We have to make them knock down as well and make them better constructions and so. So it has been a fun work also for the engineering.
So I think we have some pictures and content.
So there will be 4 launches during the year, and you will meet the designers in media for where we have a production team who's worked very hard with finding both the stories, the histories, the archives. Some of them are not with us anymore, but Sven, for example, lives in Simrishamn, and he will join us in the museum opening. We have June 15 in Älmhult as well, a big Älmhult festival for Scandinavian design. We have Knut and Marianne, who created this, you can see it's very simple contemporary candlestick, but we have added on in new colors. And we also want to do very democratic design, as Johan says, and price is one of the important things for us. And here you get free candle holders for under 100 kronor, maybe like 90 kronor or something. And then it's should be affordable and fun. Rutger was a designer with us. He was actually engineer and mechanical engineer and did the most complex construction and helped us to develop a lot of fittings for the furniture as well. So we always collaborate very closely with our designers and Johan's team here.
And this was very exciting for us in the museum as well, because then we could collaborate more, and you can like come to the collection and look what we have and the catalogs, and to actually create like business value again. That's amazing.
Kind of the start of the collection came to you in some way.
Yeah, Karin called me on Teams, and we
So
what should we do?
What about June? Can you pitch what's happening in June a bit?
You should definitely come. It will be a full day of happenings. We will have some kind of similar design talks. We will have quiz. We have invited some guests. For example, Andreas Sising, who's actually has become kind of an IKEA vintage expert. Who will like speculate a bit what can become the new kind of classics, because there's still like so much things to discover in the historical range. And I can't say too much, but there will be much focus on the music. So we will have a special guest. I will DJ actually. Cool. I can dance. We also see that vintage prices is very high now for IKEA furniture. In some countries, IKEA is not so old, you know, but IKEA actually turns 80 years as a brand this year in Sweden, so that's why we're also celebrating. But for some countries, IKEA is only 10 years. Some countries is 50 years or 40 years. So it's a different perception of IKEA in different countries.
Right.
And the new exhibition looks fantastic, I just have to add also.
Yes.
Good. I think time's running. These are just some more examples of the content that's created.
And that's the first launch. Its sale starts in July, we can tell you.
Yeah.
The next launch is in October, and then it keeps on every quarterly.
So it's kind of a long-term collection or commitment from IKEA. Is that next year as well? We'll see some more?
Yes, it's next year as well. And
so the treasure chest is open and it keeps on giving.
It will.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Right. I think that's kind of it. I think maybe to finish, Johan, what did we do in Milan with AI and students?
Yeah, we thought we should have a future component going in here as well. We met. We didn't only launch a lot of things and had a great time, but we also always take time to meet design students when we get out in the world. So we met design schools across all of Milan to have a conversation on what they think about AI, because it will probably be a tool in their reality going forward, and it's the same for you who's young here as well. So we were not there showing stuff that we had done from AI because we don't work with AI in that way in design. But we're curious about where the designers are and how they think about it. And we had a really good workshop together, or a conversation, I should call it, and dialogue. And we were a little bit curious about you in the room here also on the last 3 minutes. If there's anything that you would like to send with us that you think is really super important for the future connected to our product offer, or just your reality.
You want a new compost sofa?
You have the opportunity to ask IKEA for anything now.
Yeah.
Lisa, do you have any questions?
I'm really curious about where this first film with Kamprad was sent. What was the purpose of the film?
Okay, where it's at the moment?
No, with the phone.
Yeah, where it was set. Maybe you know.
You mean?
Yeah, maybe you know.
Actually, you have to go into IKEAmuseum.com and look it up for yourself, because I don't remember right now.
But you could say an idea, just to fill in on, an idea like that, not very seldom can transform and change a whole industry. That's a little bit responsibility that we take on as well, because we know that we have a size, so we can help us all to transform industries to the better. Then maybe this one exactly wouldn't be maybe the most successful one, but there are many of those examples. Now we choose to share a little bit of the things that didn't work out.
And I can also just mention is we have a collection, of course, with artifacts, but we also have a huge archive with documents and films and photos, which is like an endless, just going through this. And so there will come more material for sure online.
Keep your eye out at IKEAmuseum.com for the big future mistakes that we make today. I think our time's up.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much for having us.
Thank you. Big
Thank
applause.
you.
Thank you.